My name is Sophia. I'm 22 years old, and a year ago my life looked nothing like it does today. Back then, I lived in a tiny rented room above a noisy street. The walls were thin, the ceiling leaked during heavy rain, and the smell of street food and car smoke always floated through the cracked window. I worked two part-time jobs just to survive. During the day I worked as a waitress in a small cafe, carrying trays of coffee and sandwiches for impatient customers. At night I cleaned offices in a tall glass building downtown. Every month I counted my money carefully, hoping it would be enough for rent and food. Sometimes it was not. Many nights I went to bed hungry, staring at the ceiling and wondering if life would ever change for me. Despite my difficult situation, I had a dream. I wanted a life where I did not have to worry about money every single day. I imagined living in a beautiful apartment, wearing elegant clothes, and traveling to places I had only seen in magazines. I wanted security, comfort, and respect. But dreams felt far away from my reality. I had no rich family, no powerful connections, and no lucky opportunities. I was just another young woman trying to survive in a big, busy city that never slowed down. Everything began to change one evening when my friend Lara convinced me to attend a charity event at a luxury hotel. I almost refused because I had nothing fancy to wear, but Lara insisted. She lent me a black dress that fit me surprisingly well and helped me style my hair so that I looked more confident than I felt. When I walked into the ballroom, I felt like I had stepped into another world. The room sparkled with golden lights, crystal chandeliers, and expensive decorations. Men in tailored suits and women in stunning gowns laughed and talked while holding glasses of champagne. Soft music played in the background, and waiters moved quietly between guests with trays of delicious food. I stood near the edge of the room, feeling nervous and out of place. Everyone seemed rich, confident, and important. I kept reminding myself that I was only here for one night, just to see what this world looked like. Then, as I looked around the room, I noticed a tall man walking toward me. He was older, perhaps in his mid-50s, with silver hair and sharp, intelligent eyes. He wore a dark suit that looked extremely expensive, and the people around him stepped aside respectfully as he passed. When he stopped in front of me, his gaze was calm but powerful. "You look like someone who does not belong here," he said with a small smile. His voice was deep and confident. I felt my heart beat faster. I did not know what to say, so I simply admitted the truth. I told him I was just a guest of a friend and that this was my first time at such an event. Instead of laughing, he seemed interested. He asked me my name and what I did for a living. I told him about my two jobs and my difficult life. As I spoke, I expected him to lose interest, but he listened carefully, as if my words mattered. Finally, he introduced himself. His name was Alexander Ward, one of the most successful billionaires in the city. He owned several technology companies and investment firms. His name appeared often in business magazines and financial news. I had heard about him before, but I never imagined I would meet him in person. We talked for nearly 20 minutes. He asked about my dreams and what kind of life I wanted. I admitted that I was tired of struggling and that I wanted security more than anything else. He studied my face carefully, as if he were trying to understand something deeper about me. Then he said something that shocked me. "You are honest," he said quietly. "Most people hide their true desires." I respect honesty. A few days later, I received a message from his assistant asking if I would meet Alexander for dinner. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Why would a billionaire want to meet someone like me again? But curiosity and hope pushed me to accept the invitation. When I arrived at the restaurant, I felt nervous but excited. The restaurant was elegant and quiet, with soft lights and polished wooden tables. Alexander greeted me politely and treated me with surprising kindness. During dinner, he spoke about his work, his travels, and his life experiences. I listened carefully, fascinated by his stories. Eventually, the conversation became more serious. He leaned forward slightly and looked directly into my eyes. "I will speak very honestly with you," he said. "I need a wife." His words made me freeze in surprise. I thought he must be joking, but his expression remained calm and serious. He explained that his life was extremely busy and complicated. He needed a partner who could represent him at social events and support his public image. In return, he promised me a life of luxury, security, and comfort beyond anything I could imagine. My mind filled with confusion. I barely knew this man. He was much older than me, and his proposal sounded more like a business arrangement than a romantic relationship. Yet the idea of escaping my poverty was incredibly tempting. I remembered my cold room, my exhausting jobs, and the constant fear of not having enough money. Alexander was offering me a completely different life. After many sleepless nights, I made a decision that would change everything. I agreed to marry him. Our wedding became a huge public event. Newspapers and magazines wrote about it for weeks. Photographers followed us everywhere, capturing every smile and every gesture. People whispered that I was a gold digger who married for money. At first their words hurt, but I tried to ignore them. I told myself that they did not understand my life or the struggles I had faced. Soon I moved into Alexander's enormous mansion. The house was larger than any place I had ever seen. It had tall windows, marble floors, and beautiful gardens that stretched across several acres. There were servants who cleaned the rooms and prepared meals every day. I had closets filled with designer clothes and jewelry that sparkled like stars. For a while, it felt like I was living inside a dream. But slowly, something began to feel wrong. Alexander was often distant and secretive. He spent many hours locked inside his private office, making phone calls late at night. Sometimes he seemed tense and distracted, as if he were worried about something he refused to share with me. When I asked questions, he would smile politely and change the subject. One evening, while walking through the mansion, I discovered a locked door at the end of a long hallway. I had never seen it before. When I asked Alexander about it later, he simply said it was a storage room and that there was nothing interesting inside. But the way he avoided my eyes made me uneasy. The real truth revealed itself one night when I could not sleep. The house was quiet, and the moonlight spilled through the windows. As I walked toward the kitchen to get a glass of water, I heard Alexander speaking on the phone in his office. His voice sounded sharp and angry. The door was slightly open, and without thinking I paused in the hallway. "The marriage worked perfectly," he said. "The media stopped talking about the investigation as soon as the wedding happened." My heart began to pound. "Investigation? What investigation?" Alexander continued speaking. He explained that the public marriage had helped distract the media from a financial scandal involving one of his companies. The reporters had been focusing on his personal life instead of the accusations against him. My stomach twisted as I listened. I realized that our marriage had been part of a carefully planned strategy to protect his reputation. In that moment, everything became clear. I was not his partner. I was a shield, a distraction, a beautiful story for the newspapers. He had chosen me because I was young, unknown, and easy to control. At first I felt completely numb. Then anger slowly replaced the shock. I thought about the sacrifices I had made and the freedom I had given up. I had believed that marrying him would save me from poverty, but instead it had placed me inside a golden cage. The next morning I confronted Alexander. I told him everything I had heard and demanded the truth. For a moment he looked surprised, but then he sighed heavily and admitted that my suspicions were correct. He insisted that the arrangement had benefited both of us. According to him, I now had wealth, fame, and security. In his mind, the deal had been fair. But I no longer saw it that way. Money and luxury suddenly felt meaningless. I realized that I had traded my independence for comfort, and the price had been too high. I packed a suitcase that same day and told Alexander the first was leaving. He tried to convince me to stay, promising more gifts and opportunities, but his words no longer mattered. Walking out of the mansion felt terrifying and freeing at the same time. I did not know exactly what my future would look like, but I knew one thing for certain. I would rather struggle honestly than live comfortably inside a lie. Today my life is simpler again. I work hard and earn my own money. Sometimes the days are difficult, but when I look in the mirror I see someone who made a brave choice. I learned that money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy dignity, freedom, or peace of mind. Marrying a billionaire once seemed like the perfect solution to my problems. Instead, it taught me the most important lesson of my life. True happiness does not come from wealth or power. It comes from living honestly, making your own choices, and never allowing yourself to become part of someone else's secret plan. In the first few weeks after leaving the mansion, life felt uncertain and quiet. I moved into a small apartment on the edge of the city. It was nothing like the luxurious house I had lived in before. The furniture was simple, the walls were plain, and sometimes the heater did not work properly. But every morning when I woke up, I felt something I had not felt for a long time: peace. No cameras followed me. No strangers whispered about my life. For the first time in months, I could breathe freely. I began rebuilding my life slowly. I found work at a small fashion studio where young designers created clothes for local brands. The pay was not high, but the people were kind and supportive. They treated me like a normal person, not a headline in a magazine. Day by day, my confidence started to return. I worked hard, learned new skills, and even helped design ideas for photo shoots. It felt good to build something with my own effort instead of living off someone else's wealth. One afternoon, while walking past a quiet cafe, I noticed a familiar face sitting outside. It was Alexander. He looked different now, tired and older somehow. There were no reporters around him, no assistants, no expensive cars waiting nearby. He simply sat alone with a cup of coffee and a newspaper. When he looked up and saw me, he gave a small, respectful smile. I walked over, and we spoke for a few minutes like two people who once shared an important chapter of life. Before leaving, he said quietly, "I hope you find the happiness you deserve." I nodded and wished him the same. As I walked away, I realized something important. My past had taught me painful lessons, but it had also made me stronger. I had once believed that marrying a billionaire would solve all my problems. Instead, it helped me discover something far more valuable. Real freedom does not come from money or luxury. It comes from choosing your own path and living a life that belongs only to you. If you enjoyed this story and want to improve your English and your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join this learning journey with us. And watch the next story on your screen to continue improving your English.